Here we are, man.
We're back. We're back. It's been a while.
It's been a while. How's it going, man?
It's been all right. A little illness, but we're over that, and we're looking forward to being healthy again. And now it's been warming up. It's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, by the way.
May the 4th be with you.
Star Wars Day.
We're Star Wars fans, right?
We are. I tried watching Return of the Jedi, but then I lost my internet, so I was unable to finish it.
How far did you get?
I mean, most of it. I was in the last 29 minutes, so like, they were already in Endor. Palpatine had Vader and Luke are in like their little, it's not a throne room, it looks like a maintenance room. It's not very impressive. But they're watching the fleet as they go, friends will die and all that.
That's right. Your friends will die on Endor.
On Endor, yeah. And he pulls out the lights, and Luke grabs a lightsaber, and then starts attacking, and Vader pulls his out, and the duel begins. And I don't remember what was going on at Endor.
Obi-Wan has taught you well.
Yeah, Obi-Wan has taught you well. And Palpatine says something like, he mentions, he's like, if your father was turned, you'll be turned, you will both belong to me, or something like that.
Yeah, well, it was a good movie.
It is. I mean,
it is.
I'm not gonna lie though, I kind of forgot how annoying C-3PO is in the original movie. Like, he never shuts up. He's constantly talking.
Yes. He's flew over 5 million.
6 million. 6 million.
6 million.
Because I forgot he speaks like Huddies in the beginning, like with Jabba. I forgot that he was like his translator briefly.
Man, you know a lot.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to get down with this?
Yeah. Let's get to this stuff.
Are you ready to do it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, man. So, here we are, May 4th, 2022, right?
2022, yeah.
Some news has happened.
Yeah, some stuff has happened the past few weeks.
Right? Some things have happened. Some things have happened with you.
Yeah.
Right? What's new with you? I understand you got accepted to a program.
Well, it's a community college. It's like, they pretty much take everybody. It's not like an Ivy League. But hey, it's a good school.
You're there, man.
Yeah.
You're there.
Local
What are you
college.
taking? What are you taking?
I'm taking some paralegal technology classes. It's going to start in the fall. It's a two-year program. I don't know how many of the classes are going to require me to take. Like, I hope I don't have to take like BS, like reading or like just like,
right.
Because I mean, I took all those things in high school, so
like
I don't know how it works.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know how it works for community colleges. If like you can really just take the classes you want to get out of there, or if you have to like take some fluff in there that's unnecessary. But I don't know. I'm going to find out. Other than that, I'm trying to work on my application. Work at UPS. $17 an hour.
UPS, the freight place or like the store place?
The store place. So I wouldn't be like a packer. I'd be like working the front desk.
Right.
And it seems all right. I mean, working that application, and they emailed me back yesterday, and I didn't finish the application because they asked for some they asked for a lot of information history for. Actually, they asked for a lot more than I think they should, but I didn't have it all in my place, like passwords and whatnot. So I went to my parents' house and I had distracted, and I didn't finish yesterday. Then today I've gotten sidetracked with whatever this is.
What do you have there?
It's some sort of bug bite that I don't want to get affected, so I need to.
I have a knife. We can do an online demo.
Yeah, but it's my wrist, man. That's risky, man. You could cut up one of my
veins. That's okay.
veins.
We can do an online demo. We would get more subscribers.
Man, that shit whack, man. You can cut me near the knife. You're trying to make me bleed over the place, man. I don't understand, man.
Man, that shit whack, man.
So I need to finish the application thing today, but other than that, I'm here. We're doing the podcast.
Good, man. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too, man.
I love young energy.
But do you love young energy more than you love young business?
I love young business. Young energy is a result of young business.
Or was young business a result of young energy? Because you got to have...
It could be one and the same.
That's true. I mean, you can't have one without the other.
But I'm glad I have young business in the crib.
In the crib, yeah. We're in a different location than we
Different location to keep people guessing.
Yeah. You no clue where we are.
No clue where we are, man. It's an undisclosed location.
That's right.
So news is going on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So I have some notes here. We still have Ukraine going on.
Yes, that has not ended.
And it seems like Putin is really going hard. And it seems like even though he's going for the eastern Donbass region, he's still blowing the hell out of Kyiv and Lviv.
Yeah.
Right?
And southern Ukraine, because when you look at the the map
Right,
of
in southern
control,
Ukraine, yeah,
that's where
Mariupol,
it's Donbass and southern Ukraine that where he has most control over the country. So it's that's why I find it confusing when some people are trying to frame the war as, oh, it's going well for Ukraine. It's like, well, they haven't gotten Kiev hasn't fallen, but half the country's under occupation, or I wouldn't call that a victory.
I don't think half of it's under occupation.
Maybe not exactly that, but most of the east and pretty much all of southern Ukraine, with the exception of Mariupol, which has pretty much been destroyed at this point. Which is, those who don't know, that's a city on the Black Sea. It's a port. So with the exception, I mean, it's maybe not half, but at least a third of it's.
So do you think all the arms that we're sending over there and other countries that are sending over there and the Switchblade drones, do you think that's going to make a big difference in the victory?
I think it'll make a difference. Not a big difference. Not that it's going to turn the tide, but I think it'll certainly help.
You think it'll just prolong it, or do you think it's going to end it, or do you think it's
it might prolong it? I think it will help and prevent the Ukrainians from outright falling to the Russians. I don't think it's going to end the Russian military.
Because they can keep going forever, right?
They can keep
they have
going.
limitless supplies.
They got limitless supplies, and even though they got sanctions on them, they still have support for the war. I mean, that's the thing is people
support from who?
From the Russian people, right? People always think that if there's a tyrant or a despot in power, they must be unpopular. That's not always true, right? I mean, up until this point, they support the war. I mean, a big part of this has been.
I don't think all of them support.
Not all of them. A majority support. Right. Not all of them are dissenters, but those who don't support it maybe aren't as open about it.
Right. No, because you get put in jail.
You'll get arrested. Yeah, you'll get arrested. And one of the biggest cultural figures in Russia that's been an advocate for the war has been the Patriarch of the Russian Orthodox Church. This guy named Kirill. He has pretty much called it a holy war, saying that this isn't just about Ukraine. This is about Western degeneracy and abandonment of cultural religious values. And so he's giving a blessing of, hey guys, it's okay for you to fight this war. You're doing God's work here.
But he's working for Putin.
The Russian. I don't think Putin can per se put him in charge, but him and Putin are like this.
Sure, because the actual Catholic Pope is saying this is bullshit.
Well, see, the Pope's gotten some fire. He's
didn't
been
use
very
those words.
Yeah, he's gotten some fire because he's been very neutral. He's just saying we need to pray for peace and end the war, but he has never called Putin out by name. He's never said the word Putin.
Oh, he hasn't.
He hasn't. So people have been very frustrated. They're like, yeah, pray for peace. We need to do that, but you're not calling out the aggressor here. And
I thought he did.
He hasn't. People are upset. And Kirill isn't Catholic, right? Pope. I think Pope Francis is trying to avoid making this, a clash of the civilizations because it's been almost 1,000 years. Really almost 1,000 years since the Great Schism when the Orthodox Church split away from the Catholic Church.
By the way, I forgot to mention to you before we started.
Oh yeah,
we have international watchers.
Really?
Cool.
Do. Sweet.
We do. My friends from Germany who live in Ransbach-Bombach, Marcus Reno and his other friends, they actually watch our video.
That's cool.
And so Marcus says, Greg, I can't understand young business very well because he speaks so fast.
I'm sorry, man. Again, I went to speech therapy in all of my years of elementary school. This is like me trying to talk slow.
Right.
It's tough. I'm sorry. I need to work on that.
So maybe you can talk a little bit slower.
I'll slow down.
To get our international viewers more engaged.
Yeah. That's cool. In Germany, though, the people listening to this, maybe we'll go to Germany. He'll invite us on his podcast, and we can,
we can totally be on his podcast.
Do an international podcast. That'd be cool.
That'd be dope.
Because I do want to go to Germany. So my buddy in Germany is. I think it's a different part of Germany, but he's always telling me I should come over and do stuff like that.
Yeah. So then Pelosi went there on April 30th.
Yeah, she was in there. I didn't know she was going there, but yeah,
it was the secret.
Mm-hmm.
She left on April 29th, got there April 30th.
She wasn't alone. There was a few other
there's some
representatives there.
There was a delegation there. And she went there to show her support.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was more symbolic than anything else. But something's better than nothing.
Yeah, I know they're asking for more military aid, but really not much is going on in Congress in any lawmaking right now.
But it looks like this new, I think it's $33 billion aid package is going to pass bipartisan.
I guess so. We'll see. a lot of people have been frustrated with. They feel like some people have been calling for another stimulus round of stimulus checks. I think this would be the fourth round. Some people have been calling for that.
No more stimulus checks. We need people working.
No, I want money. I want money. I don't want a job. I want money.
See, that's the problem, man.
Man, why not, man? Why?
You need to work.
Yeah,
you can't get money for free, bro.
Why not, man? A lot of people in the world do that.
I know, but you're not a loafer. You're not a lazy guy.
Well, I'm not lazy, but who in their right mind could turn down free money? Seriously.
I understand that, but you wouldn't be able to live the lifestyle you wanted to live on the stimulus checks.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when people get frustrated when they hear about these Ukraine aid packages, they go, we're struggling, and our government is more concerned about people in a foreign country and giving them aid than working on our country.
Right. Well, that's a false argument because we always have money allocated for military reasons. We
do. But they go $33 billion for one country. That's a ton.
Well, guess what, man?
Especially because we ain't the only one giving them. I know Germany just finally, it had been held up in talks for a while. They're finally giving some tanks.
Germany's giving some tanks.
Yeah, yes. The German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, he didn't want to do it. He got pressure from his coalition partners, the Greens and the FDP, to give them. Surprisingly, the Greens want that because the Greens are usually very anti-war.
Yeah, well, they don't want to be a part of Russia.
That's true.
Right, and then now you've got Finland and Sweden wanting to join NATO.
Yeah, the Swedish
quickly,
mm-hmm.
Like fast track that shit.
Yeah, so the Swedish, I think they're just called the Riksdag, and the Finland's parliament's called the Eduskunta. They're voting on it, I think, like the next couple of weeks to fast track. Like both their government and a lot of the opposition parties have said, hey, we want to.
Hell yeah. We don't want to speak Russian.
I mean, especially because you look at it, it's like, these countries have never been neutral, right? They may not be a part of NATO, but they've always been somewhat aligned with us, right? I mean, the only time I can think of where Sweden was like anti-American was the Vietnam War, right? They came out, they made a big stand saying,
right.
We don't support this.
And that war was a wrong war.
It was a wrong war, but you don't kick a man in the balls and expect him to buy flowers. You don't talk trash about America and expect investors to come to your country.
Sure. So do you think the new round of sanctions are going to help defund Putin's ability to fund this war? Because
I think so, but we can't do it alone. We have to have other countries do it too. Because
NATO's also looking at ways
like Cyprus, for example, and Malta. Like Malta actually has this whack scheme where you can pretty much buy citizenship, and the Maltese government, which just actually won re-election, like no seats changed, they're keeping that scheme in, and people are going, hey, you're pretty much having money laundering going to these islands like Cyprus and Malta, being hid there, and you're having some billionaires getting like dual citizenship with Malta. So it's like, oh, well, you can't extradite me and take my funds because we're not involved in this. I'm a Maltese citizen and we're not involved in this war.
That's an interesting concept right there. I never even thought about that.
I mean, it's really expensive. I mean, Malta's like 400,000 people. It's not like, a ton of people can do it, but for a few high profile billionaires, they'll make a whole lot just for you.
So could you just buy a house there and then become a citizen?
I don't know how exactly. I don't know exactly it is. I don't want to make any false statements, but I just know that I don't think they legally advertise it as buy citizenship.
Or it's if you're an investor,
I think it's an investor, and you own homes and assets there, and there's several schemes you can and paperwork and legal loopholes you can acquire it. But again, it's only a handful of people, but they're very rich. They're the Russian oligarchs, and so when you mention the sanctions, I think it'll help. But if it's just us doing the sanctions, then no, because we've pretty much sanctioned them to death. I mean, we pretty much banned business with them at this point.
Right.
Even though there's been concern about food supply because Russia's a major grain exporter. They're very agricultural.
I heard the Donbass region, Ukraine, they're the breadbasket of the world.
Yeah, they produce a lot of food, and they're saying, hey, you sanction Russia and try to hurt Russia's economy when it comes to agriculture. A lot of countries, particularly in Africa, are going to starve, and for no fault of their own. But it's like you may hurt them, but at what cost?
So then let's just fast forward the whole thing.
Okay.
In the end, I've asked you this before, what's going to happen between Russia and Ukraine? What's going to be the end result?
I think they'll probably negotiate a ceasefire, and there may be some like irregular legal status over the Donbass territories. I don't think it'll be a permanent end. I think it'll just be like a détente for probably some years before Russia either decides to try again or Ukraine gets the ability and the strength to we can take this back, because we know the CIA and all of them have been saying that the Kremlin's looking at Moldova next, right? They want to go to Moldova because Moldova they already have troops in, and Transnistria, which is like a little breakaway country near Moldova. And Moldova is significantly smaller. That if Russia wanted to take over Moldova, there's no question they could take it over, because Moldova, I don't believe they're in NATO either. I don't believe they're in the EU either. Kind of like Ukraine, so they would have even less support. Because I mean, honestly, does anybody know what Moldova is?
It's stuck in between a couple countries.
Yeah, it's south of Ukraine and north of Romania. I think Moldovans are actually like Romanians. I'm pretty sure.
I think it's now it's almost there's actually a small region that is where there's some Russian bases.
Yeah, that's
right?
Transnistria. That's what I was mentioning. Yeah, so that's what it's like. If Russia want to take it over, that would be the easiest because they're already there, right? And there's whispers, rumor that they want to take that over.
Does Moldova want to become also a part of NATO?
Probably now. I don't know, because Moldovan opinion, like they don't like Russia and they don't really like us, right? They really have historically, ever since the Cold War, have tried to stay low, keep a low profile. So they probably don't want to get invaded. I mean, I'm not sure that's going to make them go right into the American arms. That they'll probably want to join the EU after that. I do think that they'll probably want to join the EU. I mean, there's even been some talk of
seems like a safe bet to join the EU and join NATO because you're kind of protected, right?
Kind of protected. Remember, the EU isn't a defense thing; that's just an economic thing. And,
but NATO is,
and there's a lot of Eurosceptics, especially in Eastern Europe, and there's even been some proposals, though these are pretty fringe, just for Moldova to just become part of Romania. And Romania is in the EU. And I think they might be in NATO.
Romania is in NATO.
Yeah, I think they are.
That's why they're not being attacked.
Yeah, Romania is not.
So you want to talk about some local news?
Local at a national level.
Yes, national news.
Some not international news for a moment.
Right, some national news.
Yes.
SCOTUS.
A leak.
Supreme Court. There's been a leak.
This never happens.
Who did it? Why did it happen? What's going on, man?
Yeah, so
you're an insider.
Well, I can't be too insider because I don't make myself seem like I'm the leak. Politico got their hands. Some law clerk leaked a draft memo of the
a paralegal.
Like a paralegal, yeah, exactly. Okay. This was written in...
Which is what you're studying for.
Which is what I'm studying for, that's right.
To leak law.
You remember. I remember. And this was from February. This guy, again, these never get leaked. I mean, this is like a massive security breach.
Right. And John Roberts is pissed.
Roberts is pissed. Yeah, the Chief Justice John Roberts is not happy about this. The majority opinion, at least that's written by Justice Samuel Alito, came out that would have been, say, we were overturning Roe v. Wade and Casey versus Planned Parenthood. We find that it was egregiously decided and that it was never based. It was based, on constitutional, based on the Constitution, because the premier argument of Roe v. Wade was found in the 14th Amendment under the due process, which entitles the right to personal privacy. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, that would not end abortion nationally, but it would take it back to the states. But over 20 states have these laws placed that would pretty much lock in, if Roe v. Wade is overturned, abortion ban. And so people are fired up.
Would it be abortion ban, or would it be like after 6 weeks you can't get an abortion?
It's like some of them, they vary. Like some of them, like Oklahoma, are just period. No.
Like no way.
Yeah, like no way. That's like Oklahoma. I think Tennessee's is like 6 weeks.
And then they make a law saying if you're a citizen of this state and you're pregnant and you get an abortion in this other state, legally, we'll prosecute you here. Isn't that weird?
That's what Texas and Missouri do. They don't prosecute because the state doesn't do it. It's private citizens. That's why up until now they've been able to keep the law in place, is because they're exploiting a loophole where, well, the state of Texas isn't enforcing an abortion ban; it's private citizens.
See, to me
that would be redundant if they overturn Roe v. Wade. If they overturn Roe v. Wade, it'll be redundant because then the state can ban it.
It seems weird. It doesn't seem like America to me.
I mean, I'm not shocked because this has been a long time in the making. It's been 49 years since Roe v. Wade was decided. This has been decades in the making, starting with people like Clarence Thomas being nominated to the Supreme Court. I mean, when Samuel Alito, the guy who wrote the opinion that got leaked, he was nominated.
A little bit slower.
Sorry, Marcus.
For our German listeners, yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
In 2006, Justice Samuel Alito was nominated and confirmed to the Supreme Court. And during those hearings...
With no help from Anita Hill.
Anita Hill had nothing to do with Samuel Alito.
Oh, Sam.
Yeah, Alito. I thought you said, I think Alito.
Thomas.
I know Roberts got bipartisan support. I don't know if Alito. I think Alito might have gone a couple, but he made very clear. Yeah, I think Roe v. Wade was wrongly decided and it needs to be overturned. So this isn't a shock coming from Alito, and this. So far, I'm not shocked because I'm shocked that this guy got leaked because this has been years in the making. This is the consequence of President Donald Trump getting 3 justices in one term out of 9 members onto the court. And again, this is just a draft opinion. This isn't a final decision.
Because there's probably 15 or 20 drafts before it
gets they're constantly working on this because they heard the argument in December, and it's usually around June, July when all the opinions are released and officially decided.
So it'll be a whole different version come June.
Yeah, and one of the reasons people think this got leaked is to try to sway, or some people say intimidate, the justices into not overturning Roe and Casey. And I think if anybody's be swayed, I think Roberts might be swayed, right?
Roberts is a good Supreme Court justice. He's in the middle of the road.
But he's losing control. He's the Chief Justice. He's been losing control. He can't control the court by and large.
Well, he's got that Amy Barrett.
Amy Coney Barrett.
Amy Coney Barrett. Part of that cult.
It's not a cult. Opus Dei is not a cult, though. It's like a lay religious group. It's not a cult.
Oh, okay.
To be fair, it's not a cult, but I mean it is a very conservative organization. But surprise, surprise, that's the thing is the Supreme Court is like ridiculously Catholic. I mean, there's 9 justices. I think 7 of them are Catholic. Then the other 2 are Jewish, and it's like, wait a minute, there's no Protestants or irreligious or anybody on there. Like, excuse me, that's a little unrepresentative of the country. But so Roberts may sway his vote, but that wouldn't be enough because that would still be 5-4 because you would still have Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, and Amy Coney Barrett.
You don't think Brett Kavanaugh would go liberal on this one?
If anybody, maybe Gorsuch. Gorsuch did decide.
Gorsuch could.
On Bostock v. Georgia, he was the deciding vote on that gender and sexual identity is protected under the Civil Rights Act because the word sex was mentioned there. And you can't look at someone's gender and sexuality without looking at their sex. That was from a more libertarian perspective. So he could sway, right? I think Roberts will sway, but the other ones, like Kavanaugh, they're clear on abortion. They say, hey, it's wrongly decided. And some people are saying, hey, if they go after this, they'll go after gay marriage next.
See, here's how I see things. Just like from a pragmatic point of view, like a guy living on the world for 50 years. So it's like, if this person wants to get an abortion, then let the person get an abortion. It's not my business. That's between her and her husband or boyfriend or God or doctor, whoever. It's not my opinion. And if 2 dudes or 2 girls want to get married, it's not my opinion. I mean, it's not my business, right? It's just not my business to get involved in other people's business.
Well, a lot of people don't agree with that sentiment.
Right, but
am I not my brother's keeper? Am I not responsible for my society? Do we have a job to look out for each other and what we do? Because
yes, we do. And if you have a gay friend who's hungry, you're obliged to feed him.
Yeah.
Right? But you're not obliged to tell him who he can and cannot fall in love with.
Some people disagree. Some people say, hey, if I'm giving this guy food, he at the very least listen to me.
He can listen, but you can't make a law that says you can't be married to another dude.
Again, these people, I mean, gay marriage was decided nationally at Obergefell v. Hodges in 2015. That was a close decision. That was 5-4. And Roberts dissented in that one. The deciding vote was Justice Kennedy, who retired in 2018 and was replaced by Justice Kavanaugh. And so they go, these guys don't care about popular opinion, right? Truth is not determined by popular opinion. If a majority of people think 2 + 2 is 5, that doesn't make it true. That's like their rationale behind this. And they go, we believe. Now, I think the gay marriage would be a little hard to strike down because that wasn't just the due process clause. That was also the equal protection clause, right? That you have equal protection under the law. So that one might be a little bit harder for them to argue. But again, these people they will probably be a challenge.
Who really cares? I mean, in the end,
not a majority, but
do you really care if two dudes are holding hands?
I don't, but
you don't care.
A significant minority do, and they will do anything to.
Right.
They'll fight. They're passionate
because it actually helps taxes. It helps neighborhoods. It helps gentrify areas. I mean,
gentrification ain't a good thing. Gentrification ain't a good thing. That's pricing poor people out of their neighborhoods.
Just making things nicer.
Nicer for people who can afford it, but then those poor people who can't. Those rich people can decide where they want to live. So I'll challenge you that. I don't think gentrification is a good thing. So when they say it gentrifies an area, that's not a positive.
I think it's positive because if you take an old neighborhood, there's areas of Charleston, South Carolina that are old as shit, right? They look awful, and people are coming in there, buying the houses and fixing them up.
Where those poor people got priced out of the neighborhood because now their market value's gone up, now their rent's gone up. Well, they can't afford to stay there, even though they've lived there possibly their whole life. But now some yuppie hippie, not hippies, some yuppies come in and buy it. It's like, well, now where am I going to go? Yeah, some yuppie hipsters come in and buy it up because they like the look of it. See, I don't think gentrification is a good thing.
So you think there should be areas of town that are shitholes? Not
shitholes, but I don't think people should be priced out of them. I don't think they should be moving because it's cool, right? I don't think necessarily it's something like I don't think it's a high party. We got to stop gentrification, but I don't view it as something that's aspirational.
But if you take downtowns,
I don't think it's bad in areas necessarily poor or working class, right?
Right. Okay. All right. I mean, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
So keep things ungentrified.
To an extent, yeah.
To an extent.
Don't price people out of it where they live.
I can agree with. Well, there's always someplace else to live, isn't there?
Maybe not, but is it fair if you lived your entire life in one area, your community, and then it's a little run down, but it's not a shithole, but it's a little run down.
And I'm renting, not owning. Right?
You're renting because you can't afford to buy it. Right. And some decades later, some people come along like, oh, I like the look of this building. And people slowly sort of move in there. Rent goes up because now it's a more desirable location, and you get priced out. Yeah, maybe you can go live with your brother across the country, but you just left the place you lived your whole life and where you worked, and now it's like, that's not fair. I didn't do anything wrong.
I understand what you're saying.
These people who had money could have lived anywhere. They chose my place.
That's a valid point. Let's talk about POTUS. We talked about SCOTUS.
Yeah.
Let's talk about POTUS, President of the United States.
Yeah.
Correspondence dinner.
That's right. President Biden attended. I don't think...
First dinner in 6 years.
I couldn't remember if it had been that long, because I feel like there's some dinners they don't attend.
No, it was 6 years. 4 years, Trump didn't go. 2 years, there was a virus. So it was 6 years. Because Biden said, it's been 6 years. First 4 years we had a plague, and last 2 years we had a virus.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal if a president doesn't go to it. I mean, it's just a dinner with all the media's there. I mean, it's just a press event, right?
Right.
Honestly, especially given right now, I think there's more pressing issues that you could possibly devote your time to.
Why didn't Trump go?
Because he knew people were going to be disliking him. I mean, if you were him, would you go to an event where everybody's going to hate you in a room?
People are going to roast you.
People are going to roast you, and most people there probably hate you. So think about it. I mean,
if you were people hate Biden? Did people hate Bush?
Most people in that group probably don't hate Trump. I mean, not Trump, Biden.
How about Bush?
I mean,
either Bush.
They liked the first Bush, and the second one, they probably didn't love him. They disliked him, but they didn't hate him the way they hated Trump. I mean, look, I don't like Trump, but it's no question the media treated Trump unfairly, and that's he talked bad about them, they talked bad about him, right? So he's not going to go to a room full of a bunch of guys with whose job was to roast him.
Well, the media's job is to call out shit.
Yeah,
and Trump was doing things
they felt like
I would do.
Well, he felt like, hey, yeah, I did bad shit, but so does other people, and you guys spend way much of your time, like CNN just made a point of even saying, we're going to focus we're going to focus less on commentary and more on news. That's kind of a self-confession of, oh, we were giving our personal opinion instead of giving you the facts.
Right.
And so, again, I'm not offended him, but like, can't deny, there's sometimes he got treated to a different standard, and so I don't necessarily blame him for not going, because, if I were him and I'm there, and everybody's job is to roast me, and I know they hate me, and I can't say anything back because, that's an inflamed tensions, would I have a good time? No.
That's part of being a politician, and everybody's taking their lumps.
But he ain't a politician, remember? He's a man of the people.
Well, he is a politician when he becomes president of the United States. He's no longer a private citizen. He is a politician. That's the bottom line.
But so Biden went.
Changes.
Yeah, we're off topic. So Biden went, and the main comedian there was Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah. Biracial dude from South Africa.
Yeah, I've heard him on Howard Stern before. I talk about his childhood and whatnot, like how he barely see his dad, and like he knew he was his dad, but they couldn't acknowledge it because when he was born, miscegenation was illegal there.
What was illegal?
Miscegenation.
What does that mean?
That's like interracial mixing.
Can you say it slowly so our friends in
miscegenation? That's interracial.
Miscegenation.
It's like Misegnatation. I'm terrible at spelling things. When I was in 6th grade, I misspelled shadow. I said CHADOW to spelling bee. So I'm terrible at spelling things out loud.
Okay.
But she's just mixed with South Africa. What do you think
Crossbreeding.
Yeah, crossbreeding, if you will.
Crossbreeding.
Yeah. What do you think about him?
About Trevor Noah?
Yeah.
I think he's good. I don't watch him.
I've seen him before.
But I think he's funny. I think he's insightful. I think he's thinking. He actually made a good point at the correspondence dinner.
I was gonna say I thought he was very funny at the correspondence dinner. In general, I think he's a cool dude. He's a great interviewer. Like he does a better job at like journalism than some journalists on his show.
Yes.
And some of his old stand-up is funny, but overall, I don't think he's funny in general. I think he's terrible at accents, impersonations, his infliction or whatever the word is on words. I think he's terrible at that. I don't think he's funny at all. But I thought the dinner was surprisingly funny. Yeah. I was actually I watched it, I was like, this is like, where is this Trevor Noah? This guy's funny.
Yeah.
The other one's just like
maybe he had a different group of people writing this stuff for
maybe
him.
He did because
maybe he didn't write it himself.
Yeah, maybe he didn't because again, he's personally a nice guy. I just don't think he's funny. But tonight he was pretty funny.
But he made a good point.
He made a lot of good points.
I'm going to tell you a point I liked. He said if the journalists in Russia have the same opportunity that the journalists in America have, would he treat journalism the same way Americans are treating it today? Yeah,
I thought he did a good job.
That was strong.
Of course, some people would say, well, wait a minute, journalists don't cover how, people like Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, they were out to get him. They covered that story. They get credit to the CIA and they were doing their dirty work. So, some people would say that was a little hypocritical because they do in some ways, in some cases, act like that, act like the Russian government. But by and large, they don't go that far. But I'd agree that, yeah, he did a good job. And he called them out, but he wasn't like a dick about it, right? He was just like, hey, do your job, right? Because Americans don't trust you anymore.
Right. And Biden was self-deprecating.
They were self-deprecating, yeah.
He said, I'm happy to be here tonight because the only people who have a lower rating than me
are you,
yes. That was good.
Trevor said at one point, he was like, I wondered why did President Biden invite me, and then I realized he has his highest approval rating when he's next to a mixed black guy. I was like,
exactly.
That Trevor was funny.
Yeah. And then I think he said like the first correspondence dinner was with I think Calvin Coolidge or some.
Yeah, it was 100 years ago.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it was like an 18-something. He said, yeah, and I was 17 years old. Right? So he's self-deprecating. Yeah. He knows what's going on.
Coolidge was 1920s, by the way.
Okay. 1920s.
Coolidge. I've heard people say that Coolidge, in a way, is actually similar to Trump, but more competent and ideological in terms of like his economic, foreign, and all that stuff policies.
Did Calvin Coolidge invent Calvin Klein's?
I wish he did, but Coolidge was a very, very. This is what he's opposite Trump. Coolidge was intensely private. He actually, he was very dry-witted. When he chose not to run for re-election, he was at the convention and everybody was going to run, and he said, "I will not run," and he walked away.
No kidding.
Serious, and people were like, "What?" He was like, "I will not run. I will not contest."
This guy knows a lot of stuff, man.
He was from Vermont too.
Did he invent Ben and Jerry's ice cream?
Maybe the ancestor. I mean, there's not a lot of people of Vermont. He may have a direct connection. The people, maybe this woman's descendants run Ben and Jerry because, yeah, I mean, Vermont's like the second smallest state in the country. Probably a connection there.
A lot of woods, right?
It's very pretty. I mean, the fall it's very pretty. I'm sure in the winter it's insanely cold.
How do you know so much about so much stuff?
And I know
He knows a lot. I don't understand why a guy 20 knows so much. You're a voracious reader.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about something kind of light. Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard.
Yeah, so I heard a little about this. I know they used to be together, and each one, I think one of them accused one of being abusive, and the other one sued the other one for libel. Which one was it?
So then in UK, Amber sued Johnny and won.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now he is suing her for defamation here because she wrote an op-ed that was put in like the Washington Post or New York Times.
That's right.
Didn't name him by name, but she said that she was a public figure and that she was a victim. And so all the roads led to him because it couldn't have been anybody else, right?
Yeah.
And so he's suing her for defamation. So this is probably getting her back for what she did in the UK. But what I find interesting about this trial is that, and even though I've never seen the movies, now I've gone back and I've watched some YouTube clips, I see a lot of Captain Jack Sparrow in his testimony.
Really?
The way he speaks is kind of like Captain Jack Sparrow is there talking.
I mean, I never saw the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So again, like Johnny Depp to me is like a very, I mean, both of these people are, I don't know much about this, but I can totally see like the way his infliction, the way he talks in his testimony. I can kind of see that.
He's comical. Yeah. He really is comical.
The only thing I'd heard from this case was that Amber Heard left some fecal matter in his bed as a practical joke.
Yes, and he saw a picture of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they blamed out like one of their dogs. But their dogs like little dogs. So there's no way like a dog did that.
Yeah, so they had a tumultuous relationship.
It sounds like a international lawsuit.
My God.
I mean, yeah, it's
that's an expensive piece of pussy.
Damn, I mean,
right? Think about it.
I feel bad.
The divorce cost $14 million.
I actually don't know what she really looks like. So, is she pretty?
She's pretty. Yeah, she's pretty. Amber Heard, she got blonde hair. She's a pretty girl.
Did they have like any kids together or anything?
No kids.
Oh, that's a shame. Well, I mean, I guess good for them in this case because
imagine good for them, right?
Yeah, good for the non-kids. Good for the non-existing kids because that'd be, imagine having to do with your parents and like, I mean. I feel bad for Amber Heard. Imagine now the entire world knows that what you did. That
and all it is he said, she said. There's this testimony about him using drugs and her using drugs.
That's not a shock.
That's not the other go on and go forth. But there was one line that I thought was really funny. The prosecutor was asking Johnny Depp. He says, on a private flight from New York to L.A., were you drinking and using drugs on this particular date? He says, I was using drugs. Which drugs were you using? Opiates. Okay, and you were drinking too, right? He said, no, I also wasn't drinking. He says, I remember I was having a very bad day with Amber, and so I took a double dose of opiates. And he says, yeah, but you were also drinking. He says, when you take a double dose of opiates, you don't have time to drink. He's funny like that. I mean, he's just kind of funny,
Yeah.
Right? And then there's another section where, he's trying to explain something, right? They ask him a question, he gives the answer, but he wants to explain the answer to put it in context. And the prosecutor says, no, that's enough. We don't want you to explain it. And Johnny Depp says, well, I gave you 5 minutes to find papers.
The 5 minutes to shovel paper.
Yeah.
Let me finish. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. He has popular public support.
Yeah, I think most people would agree.
He has popular support. So I think he'll be okay.
He probably will.
I think he'll be okay. And I looked, and he owns a lot of stuff. Islands, houses in France.
Really? I didn't think he was that rich. I knew he was rich, but I figured he was kind of like.
Well,
I get the feeling that he earns a lot and spends a lot.
Yes, he has more liabilities than capital.
Yeah.
And then his business manager went up there and said, "We found a plan to straighten this out." And Amber Heard wanted to sue, and first she said 5,000, then she said 6,000, and she just went up, and up, and so here we are. But I think he's going to come out of it okay. Disney did cancel some more Pirate of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah.
But they still have the rides. They haven't closed the rides. Isn't that hypocritical?
I guess they don't want anything to do with this.
They don't want anything to do with it.
I guess they can go.
But life happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get wealthy, you do drugs, you have fight with women on your private Gulf Stream.
Have international lawsuits.
I mean, this is like normal stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I get, but they just don't get it, man. They just don't get it.
Are you sure you want to be a politician?
I mean, I don't think it comes that bad.
Because you could get drawn into all of this.
I'm not doing drugs. I don't drink. I never smoke marijuana, any of that stuff.
Me either, but
you got no time for sin and vice.
No time for sin and vice.
Yeah.
Only time for making law.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, you're awesome. You're awesome. How about something else light?
Yeah, Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, man.
First Chris Rock, now Dave Chappelle.
What's going on here?
So he was in L.A. at a show with Chris.
Hollywood Bowl.
Hollywood Bowl, that's right. Yeah, that's what it was. And it was Chris Rock was there. Wasn't Jamie Foxx was there too?
Jamie Foxx was there.
And he was giving a joke, and somebody rushed the stage, and they didn't even tackle him. They just flew. I mean, they just flew by him and crashed. And there was a commotion, and I think Dave Chappelle said there must have been a trans man or something because and then Chris Rock said, "Was that Will Smith?"
Right, exactly.
Who was the person who actually do you know?
Some crazy dude.
Why did he rush him?
It was a black dude.
Yeah. What was I didn't hear? What was the joke? What were they saying right before?
I don't know the joke.
Yeah, it was did he get rushed because of the joke?
But it was towards the end of the show. The show was closing.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess he wanted to get his last. He wanted to do something right as the show was closing.
Yeah.
He
kind of missed it to me. I mean, he dove in and then Chappelle just kind of moved to the left and he just went flying right by him.
So what's going on, man? What's going on with people going? Now it's 2 times in a row.
I mean, I think this one might be like a copycat attack.
I think it was a copycat.
It sounds like a copycat. This guy wants attention and thought, hey, here's 3 famous comedians on stage in LA. Everybody's filming this. Everybody's laughing. Now's my chance. I'm going to run up there.
We never saw his face. We don't know who he is.
No,
we don't know his name.
I saw a little bit of his shoes. I think I saw they looked like sneakers. So he was planning to run. Yeah.
So here's a question for you, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are comedians under physical attack?
A little bit. I mean, look, a comedian's job, George Carlin said, a comedian's job is to find where the line is and then deliberately cross it, right? A comedian's job is to push the boundaries.
How do you know about George Carlin?
I've always known George Carlin. When I was a kid, George Carlin narrated my favorite show, Thomas the Tank Engine. Can you believe that? Later, I learned who George Carlin, his foul mouth and all that. And this dude's talking to kids, millions of kids around the world. But yeah, a lot of people, Carlin's been dead for 13 years, but everybody still knows him and quotes him.
Yes.
Because he was a revolutionary.
He found the 5 words or 7 words.
7 words. I mean, there was a Supreme Court case with the FCC about that. So yeah, he was just he's the epitome of that countercultural comedian. And all the stuff I've seen of him was from the 90s and 2000s. So when I see a rare picture of him from the 1960s, it's oh wow, dude's young. He's got huge hair and.
My favorite joke from George Carlin is.
What is it?
Favorite joke.
What's your favorite joke from him?
He says, "I hate golf courses. I think they're the best places to put public housing."
Really? I remember him talking about sports. He was the problem. He's there's only 3 sports: football, basketball, and I think it was baseball. He's soccer's not a sport. You can't even use your hands. There's no sport to use your hands. Sailing isn't a sport. Sailing is a way to get somewhere. Riding the bus isn't a sport. Why the fuck should sailing be a sport? Hockey could be a sport because you got a lot of violence and you're hitting the puck, and you're hitting the crap out of a lot of people. But then you got the figure skates on there. So he's like, hockey's close, but there was a few others too. But yeah, he was very funny.
George Carlin was, he's classic. I think he's classic, like Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Red Fox. You remember Red Fox?
I've heard of him.
From Sanford and Son.
Yeah.
Red Fox, right?
Red Fox.
And then you've got
what's his name? The one who
Eddie Murphy is still alive, but he's classic now.
Yeah. Who was the one in the early 60s? He died, drug use, of course. Oh, Lenny Bruce.
Lenny Bruce, yes. Lenny Bruce, yes. You have good memory.
Yeah.
You know a lot for a young man.
Well, I mean, Lenny Bruce is pretty, like, Bruce was, like, kind of, he was the proto of, like, the counterculture community. He was, like, more in, like, the late 50s. He died pretty young. He died, I think it was, like, 63 or 64 from, like, a drug overdose. But he was, like, sort of, like, kind of like how beatniks were to hippies, right? He was, like, sort of the runner-up to...
Would you ever be a comedian?
No, see, I don't think I'm funny. My parents think I'm funny, but I'm like, well, I'm the only 20-year-old guy.
I think you're funny.
Again, I'm the only 20-year-old guy you really know. I think what I say and, like, the jokes I make is
Pete
like...
Davidson started out when he was 14, 15 years old.
I don't think Pete Davidson's funny. But, like...
Well, his paycheck does.
His paycheck does. I know people do, but, like, again, the jokes I tell and the way I express them is, like, how everybody I feel like my age expresses it. So I don't think I'm unfunny. I don't think I'm, like, a boring person, but I'm not funny to make that a career.
If you became a comedian, could I be your manager?
No, because you couldn't you couldn't tell the truth to me. You'd care too much. You wouldn't be able to be objective.
Okay.
Sorry.
Right. Okay. All right. So I'm out of a job. So we talked about Elon Musk last time.
We got a little into it, but then we were running over we ran out the clock.
So let's just very quickly talk about last time we spoke. He bought like 14% of the shares.
Yeah.
The board put a poison pill on there to make sure he couldn't buy more and control it. And then all of a sudden, he bought the whole damn thing for $45 billion.
Yeah, $45 billion. It was, I think was it $52 a share?
$52.
How many shares is that? Are you good at math? Can you do that?
Not that quickly.
Oh man.
No, I need C-3PO here.
Yeah, C-3PO can do that. Is he good at math though? I mean,
yes, he's good at math.
Yeah, that's true. He calculates odds. Yeah,
he calculated odds.
7,000 something 200 to 1.
Never told me the odds.
Never told me the odds. Yeah.
Yeah. So he has said, I'm just going to buy it. So why the board approve his purchase?
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but the board approved it.
They did.
Doesn't the board have to approve it?
They do have to approve it, because he's privatizing it. Yes, he bought it by the share. Twitter is
now
public now,
privatized.
but now he's privatizing.
So now there's no more shares.
There's no more shares. He bought back all the shares. So if you were a share owner, you know, you got if you had 3 shares, you got 156 bucks. My math skills.
Gotcha.
So he's wanting to make some changes with it. He wants to make public, like, how the algorithm works and, like, recommending things. He wants to add an edit button, and he thinks mostly there's too much content control and not enough free speech.
Okay, so I know he wants to make sure that they verify the human user using CAPTCHA or a credit card.
Yeah.
Right? Which is fair and square.
Yeah.
He wants to promote free speech. Does that mean Trump gets to go back on?
Trump already said he's not going to go back even if he wants to. This is the funny thing. It's like a lot of, like, on one hand, Elon's big claim is that Twitter is the modern day public square, de facto. I know Tenet's a private company, but especially during COVID when things were shut down.
There's certain things you still can't say.
There's still some things you can't say, but they feel like, hey, it's a little ridiculous that, like, I can say the word cracker jokingly and I get banned. They're like, this is what happened to freedom of speech. This is the de facto town square. If you say the word cracker, like, even as a joke, I'm a white guy, and I said, you'll get banned.
Really?
Because that's considered a slur. Even though I'm a white guy, I just call myself a cracker. Like, and so they go, that's a little much. And so he's like, people are getting kicked off their things for maybe they weren't great things, but they're not worthy of getting expelled from. He's like, and I don't think he's entirely wrong to say it's the modern town square, especially when you had a pandemic and, you know, people are staying inside. This is the way people are communicating at large with the public.
Right.
So I don't think that's entirely an unrealistic point. I don't really care for Elon Musk. I think he's very overrated. He seems very immature and insecure for a man of his age. But so, a lot of conservatives really cheering the Psalms that they think, great, we can say whatever we want now. We won't get kicked off. And they're like, hey,
there's still going to be limits as to what you can say.
There are still
you're
some
not
limits.
going to be able to.
You can't say, I'm going to kill you.
Right, exactly, yeah. There's going to be limits.
But they want Trump.
I do trust Elon Musk.
You do?
I don't think he's reckless. I trust him.
I mean, this is going to hurt like his Tesla and whatnot. I mean, he's rich, but like he's going to have to devote more time. So I think Tesla's share went down after he bought it.
It'll go back up.
And they think he's going to bring Trump back because he's making it a lot difficult to get people kicked off. Trump already said, "I don't care if I'm not coming back. I have Truth Social." I'm like, yeah, he's not coming back because he just put all his time and effort into Truth Social.
That's his new.
That's his thing that got launched.
His new platform.
I mean, it's been
working?
It wasn't working. It's gotten a little better. There's still there's a huge backlog of people waiting to get onto it and create accounts. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, hey, he said, he's like, I think Elon's great. I'm glad he bought it, but I won't be coming back. Now, I think he will. Right. I think he will, but it'd be funny if he didn't because it'd be like, the whole point he bought it. And
so I want to talk about before the pop question.
Yeah.
Because there's a pop question.
There's a pop question.
I want to tell you that my friend in Germany, he and his buddy Udo have a podcast which is on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Buhonner Talk. I even have a picture of it here.
Buhon what?
Buhonner Talk.
Buhonner. What does Buhonner mean?
Buhon is the name of a. Buhon is the name of a bar, dive bar, in a little village in Ransbach in a neighborhood called Wassermitch. Okay, and this is the picture of it right here. That's their logo on Spotify.
So it says Buhonner.
Buhonner Talk.
Buhonner Talk.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get it here on the television.
I'm assuming they do this podcast in German. Like, they don't speak English or like.
Work. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say here on TV, Marcus and Udo, when you do your podcasts, A, speak slower, and B, I know you both know English. So if you would, do your international listeners a favor. And when you start to talk about a subject, try to put some English in the beginning so I know what you're talking about. That way I can figure out the context with the German words. Because if you just speak 100% German, you speak it so fast, I can't keep up with what you're saying. But if you could just like introduce the subject or just put some English in there, so I know what you're talking about, then I'll be able to follow along.
Yeah. Or y'all could put closed caption. They also speak English. I mean, if they do like a script, if they're really professional, they could translate that and put it in a closed caption.
Subtitles.
Yeah, some subtitles, some closed caption thing. That'd be better. But that'd be more work.
Do English subtitles.
I know that's more work, but that'd be the best case scenario.
Yes.
Because I don't speak German. I know a little Yiddish, but that's like broken German. But
you know Yiddish?
I know some words.
Why do you know Yiddish?
You just hear them. I mean, there's some Yiddish words people use. Like, you ever heard the word mashugana?
Mashugana.
It's Michigast.
Mashugana I know because my Italian grandma said it.
Yeah, there's Michigast, which is like just like it's kind of like crazy. Like, so Mashugana is crazy. Michigast is just like ridiculousness, like lies almost.
Schwätzen.
I mean, a lot of it's just German, really.
Right.
But I just know a few from here and there. They have to make people speak it nowadays.
Are you a secret Jew?
No, I can't say. I even if I could, I couldn't tell the mark. I couldn't tell the German audience.
Are you a secret Jew?
No. No.
You're shaken.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'll do the sign of the cross. See, I do want to do that.
Okay, so are you ready for
pop question?
Pop question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
If you could be any character in a Star Wars movie, which character would you be?
Didn't we already do this question? It sounds familiar. Did we do this?
Did we do this?
I think you asked me what scene. I don't think you asked me a question of who I'd be.
I asked you what scene you'd be.
Oh, this is tough. I don't want to be a Jedi because they all die.
Not all of them.
Well, not all. I mean, eventually all do. Then I've always liked Dooku. Dooku, I think, is so underrated. I've always liked Poggle the Lesser. I learned earlier, you know Poggle is, right?
Which one?
He's the Geonosian leader. So the Separatists, there's like their bases on like Geonosis. That's where the droids are made. He's the leader. Do you remember?
Is he the one that says there's no war here?
No, that's really, I don't remember his name. He's going through the PAL. But they're the ones who speak this like clicking language. Like
oh yeah.
Toggle's got a cane, and that cane is actually a leg boat of a rival he killed in combat. Toggle's badass.
Oh.
I might have to say the Count Dooku or Toggle the Lesser, because clones are cool, but they age twice as fast. Jedi all die. Palpatine's pretty cool, but I mean, maybe Palpatine. I'm giving you the bad answers. I think I'm not giving you a solid side.
That's okay.
Probably Count Dooku. Honestly. Dooku is cool. He's the best duelist. He's wise. He's elegant. He's well respected.
He's like the bad version of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. I mean,
he's wise.
He's like almost like a grandfather figure, because he was Qui-Gon Jinn's master, and Qui-Gon Jinn was Obi-Wan Kenobi's master. So there's a connection there. So probably Count Dooku. Maybe possible. Dooku gets his hands cut off. That's better. That's better than like getting cut in half. Like Anakin, when he goes to Mustafar to kill the Separatists, he cuts Poggle just like that. He just like cuts him in half. But what about you? Who would your character be?
Who would I be?
Solo.
I'd be Han Solo.
Han Solo. What?
He was cool.
Well, yeah,
either that or Orlando Calrissian. But I'll say Han Solo for that one.
But Lando betrays Han, remember? He had his hands tied.
Yeah.
He had his hands tied. He makes up for, even though Chewbacca almost strangled him.
I had no choice.
I had a choice. They got here right before you did. And, Chewbacca starts to like strangle him. But you could be the dude with Lando, the dude with the computer around his head.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And they keep pressing the button.
Yeah. All right, man. This has been a good show.
It has been a good show, man.
I'm glad you came.
I appreciate you inviting me on, man.
Good luck with your paralegal.
Thank you. Well, we'll start in the fall. We'll see how it goes.
This has been awesome, man.
It's been awesome. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah, take care of everybody, and to all of our international listeners, right?
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.